Hey, what's going on, vinyl community? It's your old pal Mikey Bananas from the Grown Man Record Night program. Here back to do another video. Today I'm doing a contest entry for a new channel I found, courtesy of Vinyl Richie, and his ultimate wisdom as a pillar in the VC, as I've heard him called. TKR Video Central, new channel to me. Just discovered this cat's pumping out daily content, which is definitely applausible. That's tippable right there on its own. Not only that, but it's unique and different content. It's not just, you know, somebody showing records, which I still watch those videos, but there's thousands of people doing that. And to come out and do something unique in the VC, it takes balls, and it's let me tell you, from personal experience, it's an uphill battle. From being told 10 years ago that nobody's going to watch hour-long live streams, and these videos are supposed to be 10 minutes. And look at the VC nowadays. So kudos to you, bud. Much luck to you. I hope your channel takes off and you get a bunch of subs out of this. Very cool. But this contest he's running, show 10 albums that you think nobody else in the VC owns. Unique stuff. I've loved the entries I've seen so far. A lot of the heavy hitters in the VC that I knew were going to come to the table with some just monster stuff. You know, already seen that. You know, Vinyl Richie had some cool stuff. John, Bit Bop Boom, Dr. October. Like, I've already seen some good stuff, and I know there's more. I still need to catch up on some other ones. So I thought I'd throw my hat into the ring, and I've got some unique stuff that I could add to the table here. And this could be it's a really good thread. It's a really good thread. There's a cobweb right here. It's driving me nuts. Okay, sorry. But yeah, we'll jump right into it. So you guys, I'll leave a link to Homeboy's channel. Go sub him up, show him some love. Check out his daily content where he like dissects a song, like one song a day, and kind of like does a deep dive into it. Very cool stuff. I really appreciate that stuff. I got a couple. I'm kind of spanning multiple genres here for different reasons. I got some local steez in here. I've got some just weirdo stuff, and this is something I picked up right when COVID kind of came to the end. We could first get back into local record stores. It's something I probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise, but I wanted to support my local record store because it's stuff I don't normally take stabs on. And in retrospect, I'm like, why wouldn't you do this? Walter Zuber Armstrong. It didn't look like, I mean, I didn't know what this was, but the sticker from the record store says, rare private press jazz record signed on the back cover. A bit avant-garde, very clean LP. This is like his own label, Pacific Northwest, 75, I believe. And it says a bit avant-garde. Yeah, and I like a bit of vodka. This shit is out of this world bonkers all over the place. There's 2 tracks, but they're each like 16 to 19 minutes. I think one's 16 and one's 19. Really out there stuff, but really, really cool. And a record that you're not going to see every. All of this stuff I'm showing, I think, generally has less than 100 entries on Discogs, which I thought was cool. Some of this stuff, I feel like sometimes I'm playing Keep Up with the Joneses. Like I know some of you guys have some really rare, cool stuff, but I've got some stuff too. And that's one of those where I'm just like, man, that's really cool stuff. Here's something for my man Stunt Rock Confusion. Interestingly enough, this is one thing I showed when he was watching the show, and he didn't have in this genre, and so that's the only feather in my cap I've got with him over. This is some electronic, some ambient music from the '90s, and this is a very special record to me. It's called Excursions and Ambience, and this is the third what's it called? The third frontier, third dimension. I'm sorry, the fourth one's the fourth frontier. I picked these up off of eBay, but they were very special to me because I knew nothing of this music until I got to, you know, we got these people in our lives. I went to college, and there was this guy, still buddies with now, Dave. And Dave introduced me not only to bands like Mr. Bungle, but all this electronica music like IDM stuff and ambient music. And it's right, you know, college is where you first start, you know, getting a little bit loosey-goosey and like experimenting with freeing your mind a little bit. And that came at the same time when I discovered this kind of stuff. So late, he also, not only did he expose me to bands like Boards of Canada and Aphex Twin and stuff like that, but these compilations on Astral Works, the Excursions and Ambience, and he hit me to like a local college radio station that played this stuff like in the overnight hours, which is a perfect, dude, I'm talking about a vibe. 2, 3 in the morning, and a radio station's playing like, you know, ambient music. I mean, hello, come on. But this is a DJ-only copy of this. And it's weird because, and this has, I'll just go ahead and run Space-Time Continuum, Sea Feel, Air, Steve Fisk. Whew, oh man, I love Steve Fisk. And a Aphex Twin track that I don't think is on any other anything other than this compilation. I'm a big Aphex Twin fan. But it's weird because I have a lot of this stuff, and I realized when I was talking to Stunty one day that I have a lot of this, but most of it's on CD. And I just kind of had this epiphany riding home today that I think the reason that is, and initially, like I went and sought out this third and fourth, and they're pretty damn rare. I bought them on eBay, and I got them together. The guy threw in the fourth one because he's like, "Oh, I realized I had a little hairline something in there," and threw the other one in. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But I realized that the reason I don't go after more of that slowed down tempo ambient stuff on vinyl is I know for a lot of people vinyl is like a very personal internal thing where you put on headphones, you're in a listening room and you're absorbing and you're thinking and da-da-da. For me, it's the complete opposite over here. Vinyl is, when we're playing records, it's so much of a communal thing. It's a party thing. It's a hangout sesh. And as much as I love ambient music, it doesn't fit into that scene. And so I don't find myself reaching for that stuff for the turntable very often. But I do still love it and still have a shit ton of it, just not on vinyl. It's really weird. Here's some coming up with some local stuff. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in the central North Carolina area, Piedmont Triad, we call it. And in the thrift store, I ran across this right here, The Good Life, Winston-Salem Sound. Now, I work in Winston-Salem. I'm working at a television station in Winston-Salem. And I saw that, and it looks like your run-of-the-mill, like, gospel record or an easy listening thing. And, I mean, look at the back pictures. Kind of falls in line right there, right? I mean, look like scenes from a high school dance. Look at the old couple down in the bottom. Looks like a fucking Kmart ad and shit, or a Kmart photo. Distributed by Steve Conrad. Actually, it's signed at the top here. It says, "Same to you, Steve Conrad." Same to you. What is he saying? Anyway, but this is not. This is considered. It's like country rock. This is what Discogs says, and there's like, I mean, 2 copies in somebody's collection. Country rock, southern rock, classic rock, and it really does. It's not great, but very cool that it's, and I don't know what year this is from. There's very little information about it, but Winston-Salem, who knew? It's, you know, like I said, it's not, let's see what the label looks like. I mean, super clean. Yeah. The Good Life, Stephen Conrad, Winston-Salem Sound. And it's got a Hollywood, California address on it. Okay. Moving right along. Speaking of Winston-Salem, one of the best musical acts to ever come out of Winston-Salem. And there's a chance some of you have heard of this band or maybe have some of their stuff. I don't know. But anyway... Code 7. I've been playing this on the show for a long time. This is a band that I played a lot of shows with back in the day. Now, they came out as, I would call them a hardcore band, like in the 90s. We played a lot of shows with them. They're a very, very loud, raucous band, punk elements, hardcore elements. Almost kind of, they were rappy at times, and that's, I don't want to mean that pejoratively, but their shows were bonkers, and we packed out shows with these. Between my band and this band, we really, really turned them out. And I ran into this cat, the lead singer Jeff Jenkins, at a party, and we were both in bands and stuff. And I was like, "Hey, what you been into?" And he's like, he asked me what we've been up to. I was like, "Oh, we've been recording some stuff, whatever, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "How about you guys?" He's like, "Well, we're coming out." And he's like, "You're not going to believe it. The sound is going to be completely different than anything that we've ever done." I was like, "Oh, cool." And then this record came out, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" He wasn't fooling around. It's super low key, almost has like Radiohead vibes. I don't want to turn people off because you say Radiohead, some people are like, no, but not. It just has that kind of like low key vibes, but it's very nicely put together. Very beautiful songs. The music Cartel is what label this is on. And I guess they only pressed 500 of these initially, but you can see down here, it's, like of 500, it's just blank. So I guess that would maybe mean it's a promo. I found it in a local shop for $10, like 10 years ago. And it's a 2010 release. And they've since recorded some, or they broke up, but they had a couple more albums after that. Very cool stuff, though, man. Check out Code 7. Look up some of their older stuff where they're like really hardcore. They did a cover of the Don Henley. I said Boys of Summer. And that got them some little college radio press, and I think they were on Howard Stern one time. So they got a little traction there, but killer band. Carl the Envelope, who lives down in Wilmington, North Carolina, brought me this back in 2014 when this came out. It's a band from that area, from like the Carolina Beach, Wilmington area, called the Carvers, Surf and Stomp Combo. And these guys, it's on Dr. Gone Records out of Carolina Beach. Modern surf, garage stuff. Very, very freaking cool, man. Really cool stuff. And we play this all the time here on the show to this day. It's got just a super, super killer vibe on it. And really tough to find another one where there's like, I think there's one other person in Discogs that has this record listed. And it may be Carl. If Carl's got his shit entered, it's Carl. Because it's me and Carl that's got him. He bought this at the gig. And I've never seen or heard about him. Carl said he doesn't think they really play around much anymore. But you may not even be able to, I would say check out a clip. But check out Grown Man Record Night where we play it all the time. Because I don't think you can find it otherwise. Here's a band, a drummer I played with back in the day turned me on to, I don't even know what to call these guys. They got a great story. They're called the Champs. And here it's stylized as C4 AMP 95. And this is the third record, which is, they just call 3. But these guys are, metal, maybe, but it's like it's all mostly instrumental. It's all instrumental for the most part. And lots of guitar harmonies and like intricate musicianship, time signatures kind of all over the place, really weird stuff. And I think they're noted for playing like 9-string guitars. So very, very unique stuff. The funny story about these guys and what I love to tell is, like I said, their name is the Champs. And when they got signed or whatever, the label was like, this goes for a lot of money nowadays, by the way. So somebody may have heard this or listened to this, but if you've got the original press of this, it's a lot of loot. Anyway, they were like, so your name's the Champs. Like, well, you can't be the Champs. And they were like, why not? Well, like Champs, they did Tequila. That's the Champs. And they were like, oh, okay. Well, then we're the fucking Champs. And so from that point forward, this band is known as the fucking Champs. If you look them up online, you would look up the fucking Champs. God bless them. Picked this up fairly recently on a whim, and I just knew I better probably do that. I'll leave that damn shit. Human Zoo, punk rock record out of Cincinnati, 1986, I believe. It's on Hospital Records, and it's one of those things. I'm starting to storm outside. I'm always learning about punk and trying to do my best. Oh, look at that. That's a cool label. Trying to do my best to kind of learn, and a lot of cats in the VC really helped me with that. But I just kind of knew maybe I should take a stab on this. And it's got a picture of Iggy Pop on the back. But the initial track, the guy, he almost sounds like he wants to be Danzig, but the rest of the album, he doesn't really sing that way. It's really weird. But it's a really cool punk record. I really enjoy it. And I loved, like, this is no one, just like when I showed that album to Stunty, and he was like, oh, I don't have that. I asked Ryan Kidd, I was like, hey, you ever heard of this? And he was like, no. And I'm like, oh, shit. So that's cool. That's a very unique, and that's another one that's got, 30, 40 hits on Discogs kind of thing. I'm kind of breaking some rules here. There's a couple, this just because it's got a story to go along with it, I'm sorry. Here's a band called, I'll tell you the story first. So this cat I work with, he's a manager. I work TV station. This is the manager at the TV station. He's also a record guy. He pops in on the show from time to time. And he said, we talked about records sometimes and stuff. And he's like, hey, do you have any way to play like cassettes and stuff? And I was like, yeah, I still collect cassettes here and there, when I find cool stuff. And he's like, well, hey, I was in a band back in the day. And he was like, whatever. He's like, but this guy reached out and asked if he could reissue it. And I've got some cassettes if you'd like to have one. I'm like, yeah, super cool. So it came out on Burger Records. He was, I guess one of the guys from Burger Records was a fan of their band back in Ohio and asked if he could reissue it just because he was a fan back in the day. The non-pederast guy from Burger, I will say. Burger's no longer with us because one of the guys was a pederast, apparently. But the name of the band is the Sarcastic Assholes. And this is a collection of stuff from 1985 to 1987. The name of the album is Shram It, which is a great name. A killer album. The song titles in this too. I got to put on my Raiders. Mariontown Police, Kmart Cafe. What a dope ass name. Mothball, Satan's Pontiac. They do a Louie Louie cover. Really cool. It's on a black cassette. There are some clips out there you can check out on YouTube. So check out the Sarcastic Assholes. And the guy works with me at a TV station. Isn't that cool? And you know, another thing, when somebody says, hey, I used to be in a punk band, and you're like, oh, fuck. Because when you probably pop it on, and it's like, because everybody was in a punk band, but you know what I mean? Like, if you could bang two trash can lids together, you're like, yeah, me and my buddies were in a band in high school and shit, you know, no big deal. But anyway, I am breaking some rules with the format thing, but I had to do it today. Today of all days, as of right now, we're recording this on July 27th, 2022. And just a little while ago, Tony Dow, Wally from Leave It to Beaver, passed away. And Leave It to Beaver is my favorite TV show of all time. Like, no kidding. It's really my favorite show of all time. And for Christmas a couple of years ago, my mom got me what's one of the best Christmas presents ever. Beaver, Jerry Mathers, recorded a single back in '62. And she got this for me for Christmas, a nice copy. Don't You Cry, I think, was the A side. And the B was Wind Up Toy. Very cool stuff, and it's good songs. I mean, it's a little bubblegummy, obviously, but good stuff. He wasn't bad. But the fact that I've got a record from Beaver, I think that's so cool, man. I got to get a better sleeve for that. And I think later on when he went to college, he was actually in a garage band called Beaver and the Trappers. And they may have done like a record store day thing a few years ago, like a reissue of that or something. I don't know if they recorded. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. And finally, to wrap this up, I've gone on long enough. The most prized possession, the most important record in my collection, and I actually have 5 of them, it's my family's record. Gospel, you guys have seen me show this before. It's some old school record night people. The Gospel Family Singers. This is, these are my aunts and uncles on the back here. And I recorded, I can't remember, maybe 79 or something like that, 79 or 80, something like that. And so I would always go to their band practices, essentially, except it was a church. So I've been going to band practice my whole life and running around in church and hanging around music equipment and stuff like that. But they recorded this, and it's just good. You know, regardless of your religious affiliation, it's a heavy record. It's heavy hitting, good old Southern gospel music, like traditional Southern gospel music, and fantastic tracks. Recorded at Mark V. It's got my uncle's contact address on it and shit. And the great thing about this, and I love telling the stories, I have a play copy that was mine, and I have a sealed copy that my aunt gave me. And then the other 3 copies that I have, I'm looking up because I've got them displayed. The other 3 copies I have, I found out in the wild in thrift stores. And, just like some kind of maniac, I felt like a kid. Like, I would bring them up to the counter. And I'm like, this is my family, and I'm sure the cashier was like, okay, weirdo, keep it moving. Jesus. That's it. Took too long anyway. Appreciate the contest, man. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed kind of digging this up and figuring it out, and love seeing all the other entries. Good luck on your channel, man. You're doing good things. I appreciate the variety and the doing something different in the VC. I think you're gonna do well, and hope you do well. Just said that. Shit. See y'all.